Hey, Brett here. So tonight I'm going to work on my shoulders, but I'm going to start with a pose that is actually more of an arc, and it's going to be something where I'm going to line up on my shoulder blades. So I'm going to start with that because I was sitting on this thing, and it occurred to me that it would be great for a pose called noodle. So let's talk about noodle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to arch my back, and I'm going to try to line my back about here. And an important part of this is that I'm then going to reach back. So let's take a look what it looks like on this beast of a thing that I've had for years and I only remembered recently. Okay, so this is pretty nice. Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. Okay, let's see. I need to line this up a little bit. Is this where I want to be? I think I want to be a little bit higher. Let's see. Close. Hard to get it just right on this one, but it's important. Now, here we go. So just a little bit. Now, this is not a bridge. I'm not putting. This is not at my sacrum. This is much higher, and this is meant for the thoracic spine. And the arms pointings are is important. Now, if you have any kind of neck issue, here's a little trick: hands together, if you can, prayer pose. Bend them back, and set your head in your thumbs. Now, the important thing is, oh, this actually, every time I do this, I remind myself this is actually often deeper. And for me, it is. This actually deepens the pose. I can hold my head back for a while. When I originally started doing this pose, I couldn't. Oh my gosh, that is really, oof. I've got something in my back that's been there for a while, and this is going to hit it for better, for worse. Now, I've been working on full wheel pose, which you can see where this pose directly leads into that. Is about getting to the thoracic spine, bending, and then learning how to kick out of your feet. And of course, in my case, get enough upper body strength, which I have almost none, to pop up into the full pose. How close am I to the ground? No, that's not good. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, well, that was good for noodle. Okay, now that was a digression. So tonight, shoulders is the theme. That's not the theme. There we go. So for shoulders, I'm going to do three poses. I can do them in any order. The pose I do last is going to be the deepest, so I'm going to do them in this particular order. It doesn't really matter. So the first one I'm going to do is meant to get between the shoulder blades. And you can certainly get the hamstrings on this one as well, but for me, this is the target. So I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to then do it how I do it. There's two different ways, or there's multiple ways, but the idea is you're starting a down dog, and I could do this sideways, but it doesn't matter because you come way up. So now you go to a narrow dog, then you go to a wide dog, and the idea is I want to sink into my shoulders here. Now, right now, I've got a great hamstring stretch, but I'm not getting anything in my shoulders. And while a hamstring stretch is great, there are better hamstring stretches than this. So what I'm going to do is another option is that's why I've got this thing right here. So I just raise my hands, exact same thing, and that's notice, same thing. But now I can let my chest drop. And I normally do this about this height. Yeah, this is about right. Actually, I normally do it a little bit higher than this with a couple of pillows, but this will do. So here we go. Now, if I really want to get a deeper stretch between my shoulder blades, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bend my knees And remember, this pose is more about the shoulders. You're going to get it in both the hamstrings and the shoulders, but this is more about the shoulders. So right there, it's getting better, getting better. Okay, so now I can feel the inside of both my shoulder blades starting to pull down. So now I can, as long as I can maintain that feeling, I can straighten my legs. And now I got a nice little stretch between my shoulders. And it was, I think, doing this pose that finally loosened up my trapezius muscles. This or the last one I'm going to do tonight, I don't know. Something didn't feel quite right there, and I sort of straightened out just to not sort of have a little bit of a twist and go into that. Always be feeling. Yeah, I'm not sure how long that was. I didn't set a timer, but I'm feeling pretty good, pretty deep. Okay, so set my hand down, set the other hand down. Oh man, my shoulders are pretty stretched in that direction. My hamstring's got a good stretch too, so I'm going to slowly come in here. Yeah, that's great. Good. Now I can stand. Wow. Yeah. Ugh. So now, next, I'm going to pull my shoulders apart. Specifically, the target here is between the shoulder blades. I'm going to pull them apart. So notice I'm doing my shoulders. a lot of damage in all directions, loosening up the entire shoulder as well as chest, thoracic spine on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down on the ground here. Now, if you are not used to doing this, you might need a few pillows, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to not use pillows. I'm going to put my right hand and arm in front of my left, and then I'm going to snake my right hand to the left, and my left hand to the right. And I'm going to keep going until my elbows at least get together, or even better, cross over time. And then I'm going to lay my chin on my, in this case, front or right arm, and I'm going to hang out here for several minutes. Alexa, 5-minute timer. Now, in this case, I really do want to set a timer. It's very easy to fall asleep in this pose once you get used to doing it. I happen to be pointing my toes. That's not part of the pose. The pose is entirely in the shoulder. So if this hurts your ankles, you might want to consider doing it. But if it hurts a lot, you can do this. You can do this. Doesn't matter. Just try not to disrupt what you're going on up in your shoulders. And of course, I should try not to fidget. I believe that's the first time I've done trigger point massage with my big toe. Alexa, stop. To get out of this, push up with your belly and cross your arms. Now, interestingly, this pose makes you ready to sleep on your stomach, which I often find myself waking up to, and that generally doesn't bother me a bit. Okay, anyway, that's an asymmetrical pose. Other side, left arm in front of right arm, and snake the right to the left and the left to the right. And cross your elbows if you can. And then, there we go. Put your chin down. Alexa, 5-minute timer. Alexa, stop. Okay. So now I pulled my shoulders apart. And actually, not only did I pull them apart, but since I did it asymmetrically, I pulled them slightly diagonally. Now, in this last pose, I'm going to be hanging from the wall. My chest is dropping down. At the beginning of the pose, I'll be stretching primarily here. Now, somewhere near the middle or end of the pose, eventually my trapezius muscles will start to relax, and then my chest will also start to do this, this, while I'm also simultaneously pulling. This is a deep and intense pose. It is my favorite pose in the sequence, in the basic sequence. And I'm going to try to do this one by counting breaths and see if I can manage to do at least 5 minutes counting breaths. So that means 25 breaths. I'm probably going to do 30 breaths, but we'll see. So to get into this one, I'm going to lay on the ground. Actually, okay. This is the advanced pro version of this course. This is what I'm really going to do this pose. I'm going to spit in my hands. I know it's gross, but you know what? If you do this pose and you're in after 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes, but after 3 minutes, if you start to hands start to slide, it it freaking hurts a whole bunch. It can really hurt. And honestly, what happens is, you slide a little bit, you get this little jerking motion, and what happens because you're already sort of tightly pulling the muscles, there's this cascade response, which is really the reflex response, and the muscles go, they get tight, and so it's actually very counterproductive, and it hurts. And you can actually, after 4 minutes, I mean, yeah, it hurts. So I'd rather be honest about what it takes to do this pose safely and deeply and well, because this is a great fucking pose. I love this pose. I hated it for a while. It took me months to get to the point where I could rest in it. And now it's one of my favorite poses, but it's also probably the most intense. I don't know if I should do it right in front of the electrical outlet. I'm going to move over it a little bit. Here we go. So I'm laying on the ground. My head is basically touching the floorboard here. Now I'm going to keep my feet as so flat on the ground, but later on you'll see me doing this, and when I'm doing that, I'm pushing myself deeper into the pose. Okay, so feet down. I'm going to raise up my hands. They feel pretty sticky. Now my hands are about equal. You can go sort of about this wide or a little bit wider if you'd like. I'm going to go about here. Play around with it as you get into the pose, and then I'm just going to relax into it and start breathing and counting my breath. And here we go. Mm. Oh, boy. That was pretty good. I don't know how long that was, but it was certainly a good amount of time. I counted a 30, but I suspect that was not 6 minutes, but less. However, near the end there, if I really get deep on that pose, I start to notice a bit of a stretch like right about here as well. So yeah, that was about as deep as I normally get in that pose. And man, my shoulders are lit up. So at this point, I wouldn't use any of this part of my body to do anything serious other than like walking, because I've definitely destabilized the muscles and my nervous system is slightly turned off. Anyway, if you sit a lot and you hold tension or you slouch over, go do those three poses. Right. The first one was wide dog, something like this. Use a coffee table. You want to sink into your shoulders. The second one, lying on the ground, cross your hands, put your chin down, lying on your stomach. So let me actually really do it rather than faux demonstrate it. So number two, and again, you can do these in any order. Chin down, chin down. So I count that as one pose. It's asymmetrical. You do it twice. And then finally, the last one, hanging on the wall, cliffhanger, reach up. Oh, and I'm not going to do this for real. Oh, I guess I can do that kind of. Oh, and hang. But don't do it again after you come out of the pose. And actually, in general, don't do reps. This is not about reps. This is about getting your nervous system into a state. And if you do reps, you take it out of the state. So my shoulders are now well stretched, and I had a little bit of a twinge, not much, nothing major, but all good. I'll maybe do some stretching later on, but just want to get my shoulders taken care of.